Okay, so good afternoon from sunny Helsinki. My name is Sini Karppinen and I work as a planning officer for doctoral education here at the University of Helsinki. So today I will talk about the organization and administration of doctoral education at our university. So first here is the content of my presentation. So just I will start giving a really short information about the organization of the university as a whole. Then I will talk more about the organization and management of doctoral education at our university. Then I will talk about university services, because we here at the University of Helsinki, we don't talk about administration, but we talk about university services. And then I will also talk a little bit of the team that I work in, which is the coordination of doctoral education. And then I will try to give some ideas of the lessons that I have learned during these years as I have worked as a planning officer. So let's start with the organization and management of doctoral education. But briefly, everybody loves numbers, so I will give you some numbers of our university so you get the idea of what kind of university we have here. So we are the biggest and the oldest university in Finland. So we were the university was established in 1640, so we are quite old. We are also quite big, not only in the scale of Finnish universities, but on the scale of the whole world. We have over 30,000 students, and of these students we have about 5,000 doctoral students, and we produce about 500 doctoral degrees every year. Then on top of the students we have somewhat 8,000 employees, and I just wanted to highlight this, that we have 1,300 doctoral candidates working at the university. So actually doctoral students are the biggest group of employees at the university. And then we have about 1,000 people working in the administration or in the university services. We have 11 faculties and then 123 degree programs. So we have bachelor's, master's and doctoral programs. Then for the organization of our university, so we have there is the collegium board and rectors and chancellors, and but I will concentrate on these. So as I said, I will talk about university services. Then we have faculties. I have highlighted the Faculty of Science, which is the faculty that I work for, and then there is the degree programs. And then for the organization of doctoral education, here is the current matrix structure of the doctoral education that we have. And this structure was established in 2014, and before that we had a national doctoral programs which were funded by the Academy of Finland. So we have been now working in this system for 6 years, a little bit over 5 years. And I want to mention something, that don't be alarmed if you feel a little bit overwhelmed of this picture. It took me also a while before I understand what this picture is about. I have highlighted something, some of the most important parts. So there is the board of directors of doctoral education. Then here we have the doctoral schools. I have highlighted the doctoral school in natural sciences, where I work. Then we also have doctoral programs and faculties. So there's the Faculty of Science, and here if you look at the numbers, you can see that the doctoral school in natural sciences has about 530 students and 7 doctoral programs. Most of the students are students in the Faculty of Science, but there are some students in the Faculty of Pharmacy and some other faculties also. And then the duties are distributed between faculties, schools, and programs. And I will talk about the different duties a little bit later. So the organization and management, let's continue. So the main body responsible for the management and steering of doctoral education at the University of Helsinki is the Board of Directors of Doctoral Education. And this board is chaired by the Vice Rector of Research. And it has 4 members, because we have 4 doctoral schools, and the directors of the schools are members of this board. And this board monitors all doctoral schools and the doctoral education system, and it makes initiatives on general guidelines concerning doctoral education. And then I will mention something about funding, because funding is of course important, but this board also decides on how to allocate funding for the doctoral schools. And one important thing to mention is that the doctoral schools and programs get money straight from the rector and not from the faculties or departments. And this funding is used to organize courses, and it is also used for travel grants, so students can apply for travel grant if they have a presentation in some international conference. Then we organize seminars and really different sort of events, and the schools and the programs, they can decide on how to spend the money, so they have quite a lot of independence in this thing. And then also, as you saw from the picture earlier, so doctoral education is also discussed in Research Council and Academic Affairs Council. And just to highlight this, that I will talk about this also a little bit later, but it's good to notice that doctoral education is seen as both of research and education. Okay, then I will continue to doctoral schools and programs. So as I said, we have 4 doctoral schools and 32 doctoral programs. So our university have 4 campuses, and there is 1 doctoral school in each campus. So the humanities and social sciences is one school. Then there is the School of Natural Sciences, then Health Sciences, and the 4th one is the Bio and Environmental Sciences. And these doctoral programs are distributed among the 11 faculties that we have. So as I already mentioned, that 1 doctoral program can have students in many different faculties, but each doctoral program has 1 coordinating faculty. I will talk a little bit more of this, of the role of the faculties a little bit later. But then for the doctoral schools and doctoral programs, so they each have a director, and they also have a steering group. And for example, in the doctoral school in natural sciences, the steering group consists of the directors of the 7 programs which belong to it. And then we also have student representatives in each of these steering groups. So we see that it is important that the students actually have some saying in the issues that are discussed in the steering groups. Then about the duties between the doctoral schools and doctoral programs. So these are, of course, the schools and programs do a lot of more than only the stuff that I mentioned here. But here are the main duties. So the steering group of the doctoral school allocates funding, and it coordinates best practices. And for example, in the doctoral school in natural sciences, we have common admission criteria for all the 7 programs. Then the school also organizes studies in transferable skills, and it also organizes like common seminars for the programs. And then for the doctoral program steering group, so the steering group decides on the teaching program, and the programs mainly organize teaching in discipline-specific studies. Then the steering groups evaluate study right application, they prepare the curriculum, and the doctoral program is also responsible for the supervision arrangement of each of the doctoral candidates. And now for the matrix structure, so there's the schools and boards, the schools and programs and faculties. So although the doctoral schools and programs are fairly independent, and most of the activities are done in the schools and programs, the schools and programs, they cannot grant study rights or award degrees. So this is where the faculties come to the picture. So the faculties are responsible for student admissions, and they are also responsible for awarding degrees. And of course, they are also responsible for the pre-examination process. And so every doctoral student that we have, they belong to one doctoral program and also to one faculty. But if you ask this from a doctoral student, I would assume that everybody says that the doctoral program is like the home of the student. And then, well, I talk about this in the Moscow meeting, but the doctoral programs prepare the curricula for them, but the faculty is the official deciding body on this. And then also there's one thing which is probably different in other countries, but in Finland, in principle, if you get the doctoral study right, it is for lifetime. But of course, we have created some kind of obstacles for students who do not progress in their studies. So, and the faculties are responsible of monitoring the progress of studies. And then there was lots of text and words that I used. I hope that picture tells you more than 1,000 words. So here is the system in one picture. So here is the doctoral student, doctoral candidate inside the doctoral program. Of course, there's the supervisors. We also have something called professors in charge. And then we also have thesis committees for the students. And here are the different duties of the schools, programs, and faculties. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so here is also last thing. So schools are responsible for quality assurance, and then faculties provide the research environment, and then the programs provide high quality training experience. So now I will continue to the administration of doctoral education. So we have something that is called university services, and the university services were established a couple of years ago. Here are all the things that we do, and I have highlighted here that under research services there is a team called Coordination of Doctoral Education, and I will concentrate on that one. So before this establishment of university services, everybody who worked in administration worked either in the central administration or they were employed by the faculties or departments. But now we have the services, so we do everything from accounting and IT support to media relations and brand management. We also have a mission. So our mission is to help the university community focus on research, teaching, studies, and community relations. And of course, we work closely together with the researchers and teachers. And then we also provide support for decision-making process at the university. And this is not our official motto, but this is my motto as a person who works at the university services. So I think that our role is to help you, meaning the academic community. Then for our team, which is called the Coordination of Doctoral Education. So we have about 16 people working in our team, and of course we have a boss, and our boss's title is Head of Services for Doctoral Education. Then we have senior advisors who work for the doctoral schools, and then we have planning officers for the doctoral programs, and then we have a couple of coordinators who help all schools and programs. And also something about our team. So most of us have PhDs and we have background in research. So we have like first-hand experience on what it is to be a PhD student. And I think that is quite important. And then one thing that I want to mention that of course we cannot provide everything that a doctoral student or supervisors need, because there are some of the PhD students are employed by the university, so they might need HR services, they might need student advisors at some point, or they don't know how to use the library or the IT services. But I have the feeling that, as I said, that the doctoral program is the home of the doctoral student. So we are usually the first point of contact. So many times I get emails from students and they want to know something about libraries or ITs or HR, which I do not know nothing about. But then my job is to guide the students or maybe the supervisors to the right place. Okay, so then a little bit more of our team. So we work in the campuses, and the doctoral school in natural sciences is located in Kumpula, and we have 7 doctoral programs, and we have something called PhD office, where I and my fellow planning officer and our senior advisor work. And we planning officers, we manage the doctoral program steering groups together with the directors. Then we organize courses and events. Then we advise students and supervisors, and then we also develop doctoral education practices. And then our senior advisor supports the management of doctoral schools and organizes courses in transferable skills and develops the doctoral education in the campus, and the senior advisor is also a team leader for us. And then lastly, I promised to share some things that I have learned during my time here. So I think that is a big advantage to work in a team where everybody works for doctoral education, because we can share ideas easily and we can help each other, and hopefully we see the bigger picture of doctoral education in the university level. And so this is compared to the older system where everybody was employed in the faculties or department and probably didn't have much communication with each other. But then I have written down in my notes that cooperation is key. So I think that there needs to be, even though the university services are separated from the faculties and departments, it's really important to have a close connection with the academic staff, because we both have the same goal. So we try to provide the best possible doctoral education that we can. And cooperation not only with the academic staff, but of course the other university services. So as I mentioned, that like, for example, if there is a question in HR, so I need to know who are working in HR and how to contact them, and maybe ask them if I want to know something. And then there is something which is also not the official motto of the university, but I know that there's a saying in English that it takes a village to raise a child. So I see that it also goes so that it takes a village to raise a PhD student. So it's good to have many people involved in the process. So not that there is only the PhD student and the supervisor and then nobody else. So now we have the doctoral program, and then we have the thesis committees, and then we have the coordinating professors and whatnot. And then lastly, something that you can also think about in your home universities. So I have to be honest with you that I would lie if I said that the current organization is the best one that there could be. There is the matrix structure, but it is a little bit confusing also for us, like who is responsible for what, and is there really a need for 4 different doctoral schools? Do you need 32 different doctoral programs? Why are the faculties involved? Couldn't the doctoral schools or programs award degrees? So these are questions that we also think here at the moment in our university. Then one thing that I mentioned, that doctoral education is it's an intersection of research and education, and this constitutes to some sort of problems sometimes. Like for example, if you want to come to University of Helsinki to study for a PhD, where can you find the admission or application information? And then something that we also talk a lot in our team, that what is the right balance between tradition in different research fields and common university-wide regulations. Like for example, the traditions in natural sciences are really different from the traditions of humanities and social sciences, and sometimes we need to we are in the situation that everybody needs to compromise, because we cannot find a way that would be best suited to all research fields. Okay, thank you. That was my presentation. And if you have questions.
Thank you, Sini. Yes, we have a couple of questions, and the first question is from Yelena Pekun. What is the thesis committee and the main task?
Yes, this is a really good question, and I didn't explain it. So thesis committee is just a second. Yes, so a thesis committee is I call them mentor group. So they are outsiders to the whole process. So they are impartial to the doctoral student and to the supervisors. And then the student meets the thesis committee once a year, and they discuss about the progress of the study. So because they are outsiders to the process, they can hopefully provide useful information, which the student or the supervisors might not see, because they are working in their own bubble, so to say.
Okay, and then we have a second question from Irina. There is no last name. I suppose Irina Obukhova. Senior advisor, what is his role or her role?
Senior advisor. Yes. So the senior advisor works for the doctoral school. So the senior advisor works together with the director of the doctoral school and organizes the training and transferable skills.
Okay, then we have 2 extra questions. So we'll try to fix them. Marianna is asking, is thesis committee and follow-up group the same?
Yes, they are the same.
And there is also a question from Sarah Kitaybekova. What do you mean under transferable studies? This terminology can be translated in many ways.
Transferable studies, so transferable skill studies. So these are the studies, for example, in in communication or project management, scientific outreach. What else are there? Scientific writing. And there are those studies which are quite common for all of the doctoral students, regardless of what their research field is.
Okay, thank you. I think we will close the first session.